Last week saw the unfolding of the Snow White saga after pictures of the production leaked, and let me tell you, the entire thing. Starting with the obvious, the decision to cast Rachel Zagler as Snow White. Snow White, in the original tale, is described as having lips red as roses, hair dark as ebony, and skin white as snow. It is literally in the name. If you're going to cast a woman of Hispanic descent to play the role of Snow White, then I want Hispanic influence all over the movie. Think Snow Brown and the Seven Cholos. This also means that the apple gots to go. I want to see Snow White biting in a chimichanga for continuity purposes. Now, one casting error in the name of virtue signaling is one thing. But casting Gal Gadot as the evil stepmother is just nothing short of criminal incompetence on behalf of the casting director. All they did was put the mirror into an impossible position where it now has to lie to Gal Gadot when she asks which one is the fairest in the land. That is ridiculous. Which brings us to the tiny elephant in the room. As you may remember, the original story is entitled Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. As part of the story, Snow White runs off in the forest in an attempt to get away from her evil stepmother. And during her fugue, encounters a group of dwarfs that offer her shelter, food, and security. Half of the movie is a character study on these men who have to learn to work together and develop compassion for one another in order to accomplish their goal of keeping Snow White safe. And it's a beautiful story, really. That was until the most famous dwarf in the world went on Paul Mirren's WTF podcast and said this. Just see the receipts.
There's a lot of hypocrisy going on, I gotta say, from being somebody who's a little bit unique, front row seat to some...
Really? Like what? Like what do you see?
Well, it's really progressive to cast literally no offense to anything, but I was a little taken back by the they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White.
Yeah.
Seven Dwarfs.
Sure.
So, look, take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I know. That makes no sense to me.
But
You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the f*** are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough. I don't know what studio that is, but they were so proud of that. And all love and respect to the actress and to the people who thought they were doing the right thing. But I'm just like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting with Peter Dinklage because, it takes a Peter Dinklage to point that out where everybody was like, yeah, oh my God, it's amazing. And then you hear his perspective, but that's like with everything else. It's, it only takes one person to sort of point something out. And then you're like, oh yeah, right.
And there you have it. Peter Dinklage, in one self-cannibalizing fell swoop, managed to render every dwarf actor in Hollywood unemployable. The damage control team at Disney immediately went to work following that podcast and replaced all seven dwarves with what looks like an amalgamation of vagrants. Not to mention the fact that one of the seven dwarves is now a woman, leaving the creatives in the adult industry with some room for a potential spin-off. Insiders are telling me that the entire script is nothing short, pun intended, of a bukkake fest. I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, I try to do the math here. If you factor in the body doubles and stunt performers, we're talking about at least 2 24 dwarf actors who will now be heading back to the unemployment line. Some of these young men have been waiting their entire lives for an opportunity like this to come around, so they can finally get to showcase their acting chops. But according to Peter Dinklage, unless it's him, all other dwarves in front of a camera should be playing circus freaks or human dogs. Oh, but they weren't done. They were not done. Why stop at casting when on the quest to ruin one of the most beloved fairy tales of all time? The woke scalpel was then turned onto the story itself. Here is a clip of Rachel Zagler and Gal Gadot telling us what we can look forward to in the new Snow White movie. Jesse, the receipts.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937. And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
she's
is
not going to be
yeah.
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign. I am.
Really? Really? Snow White is a boss babe now? Ma'am, nobody's paying $20 to watch a movie about some broad climbing the corporate ladder while occasionally eating ice cream by herself on her couch in a condo full of cats. How is that even an original take? That is literally the premise of every show and movie on the W network. Sure, why bother making a movie about the redeeming power of love where you can stitch together some feminist menstrual rag about the selfish wants and needs of yet another modern day woman? The sad part is that Disney has been trying to shove these stories of self-actualized female protagonists chasing their life goals without the help of a man down our throats for the last decade, and they continue to be one flop after another. So let's summarize what we have here. A classic European tale about a young woman with skin as white as snow, now being played by a Latina. Because, you know, representation is essential when we're talking about 19th century German folklore. A story about a search for true love that is no longer about true love because we want to risk triggering lonely, strange colored hair feminists who will never go in to see the movie to begin with. And 7 dwarves who are no longer dwarves. Because Peter Dinklage might be a man of small stature, but his ego is the size of King's Landing. And offending it is a crime against humanity. Absolutely preposterous. And that'll do for the show this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Please don't forget to share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you know when we're uploading new content. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers before October, so each and every form of engagement helps. Until next time, stay preposterous.